How's it going? My name is Chris Schmidt. I'm here going over the Washington County Commissioner's agenda with Commissioner Schilling. I was wondering if you would mind going through this agenda item by item. So just tell me what happened at today's meeting. Today's the weekly meeting, correct?
Well, I can certainly do that, Chris, and thank you for having me on. A few things to mention is a lot of this is repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the things you'll find out is, number one, we have to approve the agenda.
Sure.
And we have to approve anything that's amended on this agenda.
Okay.
So one of the things that was amended on this agenda was the TCAP grant,
Okay.
which is for the court system here through Judge Carini's court.
Okay.
That was one of the things that was added, so we have to add that to the agenda. Then we basically approved the previous meeting minutes.
Okay.
And we waive the reading.
Right.
If someone were to come in and want us to read those, we have to read them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they are out there. The minutes are out there, and they're documented, and they're accessible to the public whenever you want. If you ever want to see the minutes.
Perfect.
Then we go on to the bills from various
Well,
departments.
first of all, I hate to stop you, but
No, you stop me and ask questions whenever
okay,
you
so
want.
I just wanted to go with it line item by item. So what we have first is unfinished business, right?
Mhm.
The liquor permit for Parmar, correct?
Yes.
Was this approved?
Yes, it was approved later in the meeting, so that's going to come off of unfinished business. You will not see that on unfinished business
Okay.
at next week's meeting.
Okay, so, and it's not gonna be a new business either, right? You just took care of it today.
No.
Cool, and so that means Parmar is gonna be able to sell alcohol?
Right, and basically it's just a transfer of liquor license.
Okay.
From one owner to the next.
Oh, okay.
They didn't apply for a new liquor license. Basically, it's transfer of ownership.
Okay, so no big changes?
No.
Okay, so now we have new business, so yeah, approving agenda, you went over that. Approval of various meetings, bills from various departments, anything out of the ordinary there?
Typically, you look at the bottom line number of how much is going out. If that number is over a certain amount, it kind of raises a red flag. But at the same time, I go through the bills that are going out,
Mhm.
line item by line item, and make sure everything looks legitimate. A few things to mention on this: you had $620,000 in senior levy money
Okay.
that was going out. That's all just levy money because of the property taxes were paid last month. All that's starting to come through. So that was a big chunk there. So that brought it down to the amount that is normally something that we do see around $500,000. So,
Okay, so business as usual, basically?
business as usual.
Okay, so now we have an additional appropriation for the sewer. What is this?
This is basically going to cover the cost of repair on a lift station that's down right now. Okay, that's something. And when you look at additional appropriations, this money has already been appropriated.
Okay.
Okay, but it's just it's an appropriation where we've had to move things from one line item to the other. So
Okay, behavioral health board,
that's grant money, and that's just a pass through. And when you hear me say pass through, it's basically something that passes through the Board of Commissioners, but it's grant money that comes from either the state or the federal government. Okay, and we just have to acknowledge that.
okay, do you have the amount for the additional appropriations?
I do not in front of me. No.
Okay, that's fine, if you wouldn't mind just emailing me just these additional appropriation amounts later.
Well, you can have the. I can get them for you here before you leave.
I appreciate that, yeah, okay, and also the engineer, but I guess we'll go over that later. Transfer to the engineer, what is this?
It's motor vehicle gas. It's from the motor vehicle gas tax account. It's a job that Bob Lane had done. Bob Lane Welding. They're a contractor that does work for the county when it comes to landslips, bridge, roads, things like that.
Mhm.
So that's basically what it was.
Perfect. The then and now.
Then and nows are bills that have already been paid.
You're just going back
that had to be paid.
Mhm.
Okay, and before we could get to a meeting, so basically that's what they are. One of the things to think about with the then and now is with this particular then and now, there was one on there to Devola excavating for work on that lift station that's being repaired right
Okay.
now. And we had to take that off. It was a mistake beforehand. So one of the things that you'll find out with this Board of Commissioners, we're open and transparent about things that happen, and when it comes to a mistake that has been made or or something along those lines. So, you know, that's one of the things that Commissioner Booth had mentioned, that was a mistake on his part. So we took that off. There was 5 items originally. We took that off and we approved the other four items as far as then and nows.
Cool. All right. And there was no dispute and anything? Okay. Veterans request to pay late fees.
Well, you seem to have we seem to deal with this quite a bit, and I think part of the problem is the mail right now is somewhat slow because of certain challenges that they are facing, and I can understand that and appreciate that.
Okay.
But how we've handled this is to make sure that it comes out of you know, the department supervisors. You know, they take care of it. They handle it in their own.
Is that what happened? Something got lost in the mail for a while?
Yeah.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
But this is something that is just, it keeps going back and forth, and actually, with this
it's
particular.
postmarked though, right?
Yeah, it's postmarked, and with this particular situation, there's already been a credit provided, okay, for those late fees, or a big portion of those late fees.
And is that for the VA or?
Yeah,
Okay.
Veteran Services.
Okay. All right, travel, building department. What is this?
This is training for our CBO, our Chief Building Official,
Okay.
Rick Dostal. He's got to go to some training out in Colorado, I believe, Colorado or Utah, in order to gain a license that he needs, a certification to be that CBO. So this is something, and again, this is something that's mandated that we have to make sure that our CBO has. So this
CBO is
Chief Building Official.
okay, and he's traveling for training. So you're just approving that.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Human resources meal per diem policy update.
The meal per diem policy update, basically Diane Davis, our HR director, came to me here a couple of days ago, and she said, you know, it was talked about in the past that we would make sure that we look at this and go and raise these to try to get them up to speed with where some other counties are. And so what we decided to do was to leave breakfast alone. We decided to add $2.50 to lunch to make it $10, and then to add $5 for dinner, which was to make it $20. Okay, so we went from $7.50 to $10 for lunch. We went from $15 to $20 for dinner. Now, one of the things that was brought to our attention during the meeting was from our IT director, Donnie. Donnie said, what about just putting a dollar amount on it per day?
Okay.
So if you added all 3 of those together, because some people don't eat 3 meals a day,
Yeah.
if they only eat 2, then basically you just have a dollar amount, and if you go over that dollar amount, the county only pay up to so much.
So are you thinking about doing that? Or
We are thinking about
Okay,
that.
so okay, perfect. So let's see, jail contract with Belmont County. What is this?
We have jail contracts with counties around us, municipalities around us, and basically to house their prisoners
All right,
up here at our jail.
and you're just approving the contract.
Correct.
Okay. COVID task force request number 2021-11. What is this?
This is testing for everyone in the jail. Okay, so they want to make sure that they have COVID under control within the jail, and
Okay.
that's what that's for.
Oh,
It's all
so
testing.
this is testing jail inmates in Washington County Jail?
Washington County Jail inmates and employees.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's just approving their request for testing supplies or funding for tests?
And that's paid for through CARES money.
Okay.
Okay, that comes, you know, with COVID.
Right.
There's CARES money that the county has on hand, so we use that CARES money for this testing.
Okay, cool. So the engineer, annual report for 2020, you just approving his annual report?
It's basically an acknowledgement of the annual report, and he always provides a nice annual report that's easy to read. It's something that we will go over with him next week, but that's
Okay.
that's what that is.
Engineer ODOT salt co-op bid.
It's an annual bid that basically goes out to the company that provides salt for the roads
Okay.
for bad weather. And as you know, this past winter, we had a lot of snow, we had a lot of bad weather, so
Yeah.
there was a lot of salt use. So he's actually depleted some of what he has. He still has a decent amount, but he'll go out and get the salt that he needs for this next winter.
Cool. All right. And the engineer I remember his request to purchase a Mower Max and accessories.
Yes, that's a tractor with a brush hog on the one side of it, and it's for cleaning alongside roads, banks, It'll take care of small shrubs and things like that that are sticking out over the road, and that's quite the purchase. It was $205,000.
Right.
So that's
Mention
one of
something
the,
about-
but that's one of those things that he had budgeted for. So it's not like it's something that's new that came about that, hey, I want this, will
Right.
you approve it? No, no, no. That's been planned in the past. He had the money to do it, so he went out and purchased that.
Sure. And just for clarification, okay, so this is a $205,000 county purchase, but what are the people gonna see, benefit? What is the benefit to the county going to be for this?
It's gonna keep the road ditches clean, the
Okay.
road banks clean. It's gonna make things look a lot nicer. It's gonna allow for litter control to get out there after that the roads are, the road banks and ditches are brush hogged, to be able to take care of that. So.
Okay,
That's-
perfect. That's nice. So, and the commissioner's sewer rate discussion.
We just want to talk about the sewer rate discussion because annually, what we've seen in the past is the rates have to go up a little bit each year to keep up with maintenance and salaries and all that goes with the sewer system. One of the things that I mentioned is we have some challenges when it comes to maintenance out on Route 339 and part of the system out there. And the system that was installed 25 to 30 years ago, there's things that needs upgraded.
Sure.
There's things that are going to break. We understand that. We just have to keep up with that. So we're looking at possibly a slight increase on the sewer bill with all of our customers throughout the county, just to keep up with those things.
Right, and I know, so the sewer bills are going up, and especially with this Devola sewer system, when do you expect that to start affecting people's rates?
That's going to be 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years? Okay. All right, so I guess the other things we just need to look at are, that was the regular 9 o'clock business meeting. There was also a 9:45 Veteran Service Commission. Would you mind just going over what they went over at that?
Basically, what they came to us for was a resolution
Uh-huh.
that we'll discuss next week, and I think I can share a little bit more with you next week on that.
Okay.
As far as what that's for and whenever if we decide to pass that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Fair
I mean, it's one of those things. It's something that's close to their heartstrings, and I can appreciate that
Yeah.
when Veteran Services or any organization brings that to us, and something that we definitely want to do our due diligence and help them out with and provide the support that they deserve.
Absolutely. All right, and we had a Humane Society update at 10 o'clock. You mind just recapping that?
Yeah, we have a monthly update from the Humane Society, basically because we oversee their budget,
Uh-huh.
and they bring in basically showing us what how many dogs they have in care each week, how many cats they have in care each week, how many have been adopted out. They talk about their bills, the process of going through and making sure those are paid. They talk about their budget a little bit.
Mhm.
We have a contract that is coming up with them that we need to get taken care of, that we mentioned to them during this meeting that next month we're going to set up a little bit bigger block of time and make sure that we have time to go over that contract with them.
Okay, perfect. And so, were there any major updates from the Humane Society? I know they mentioned something about cats with leukemia being transferred.
No,
nothing
too out of the ordinary.
Okay. So 10:15 County Home request for credit card, right?
Yeah, the county home has a new director. We just hired a new director, Deanna Green, out there, and it's one of those things. Anytime that a department comes to us for a credit card, we need to make sure they understand what the guidelines are. They have to follow those guidelines and make sure that they can only utilize points for certain things that the state sets forth in their guidelines to follow. I think when you look at this request, it makes perfect sense. They need to be able to purchase certain things, and there's certain things that they purchase that can only be purchased with a credit card. So that's why we approved that.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that takes care of everything here on the agenda. Was there anything else that was covered that you think people should know about?
Well, I think one of the things in public comments, we go around the room each time, and anyone that's there, we make sure that they have their time for a public comment, and then it ends up with the press and the commissioners having their public comments. And I want to make sure that everyone understands this, that we've been working very hard to make sure that we bring in as much funding as we can for the Devola sewer project. It's going to help the residents there, but it's also going to help the residents out in Washington County, out in Little Hocking, Vito, and the Barlow areas that are on county sewer. Because we all know that with rates going up in Devola, the rates out in those areas are going to go up also. I read a letter, and you can have a copy of that letter, but we were just awarded just over $1 million from the Army Corps of Engineers. That's a partial match, that we have to match 25% of that, but you want to make sure to understand that we're going out and trying to get as much money to help the residents right now. We're under a court order to sewer this portion of Devola. And so with that being said, my job as a commissioner is to go out and get as much funding as I can. Well, this is the first award that we've gotten. I've been in office for 3.5 months. We just got $1 million plus from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And I'm very pleased to announce that, and I want to make sure that we get that out there, and we're not going to stop there. We've turned over every rock that we can turn over, and we're continuing to turn over rocks, and we're wanting to make sure that we help with this project in the most positive way possible with funding from the state or federal government, or like the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and I really want to thank them for their support here, and I think that's going to ultimately be a good thing for our Washington County residents.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Commissioner Schilling.